You're listening to Bark and Wag's 15-Minute Vet Talk. Each week, your host, Polly Requa, interviews veterinarians and individuals in the pet industry from across the nation answering pet questions. Bark and Wag podcast is produced weekly for your enjoyment, and show notes can be found at barkandwag.com under the podcast tab. That's BARKNWAG.com. Please remember to subscribe to Bark and Wag 15-Minute Vet Talk.
A quick word from Shameless Pets. Shameless Pets crafts healthy, tasty dog treats with a twist, using uncycled ingredients to be more sustainable. Every 6-ounce bag is full of all-natural, soft-baked treats that are bursting with superfoods. Visit shamelesspets.com. Once again, that's shamelesspets.com. Welcome to Bark and Wag 15-Minute Vet Talk. I'm your host, Polly Requa. Today we're talking to one of our favorite vets, Dr. Llera Brown, owner of Green Tree Animal Hospital in Libertyville, Illinois, as we discuss first aid for your pet. Everyone who shares a home with a pet should have a basic first aid kit on hand. Welcome, Llera.
Good morning, Polly.
I just wanted to talk a little bit about what we should have in our home and in our cars, especially if we're out this summer hiking and camping. The dogs and I were on a walk, and 2 young adults drove by and asked me if I knew where an emergency clinic was because their dog had been injured by the river. And so I just wanted to find out, I actually had the emergency vet's number in my phone, but I really, when we go hiking and exploring with the dogs, I don't have anything in my car. So I just wanted to talk to you about what we should have just in case there is an emergency.
Okay, good idea. Do you know what happened to their dog? Was it limping, or did it have a laceration, or?
I think it cut its paw on a rock.
Okay. Yeah. So, basic first aid kit things. First of all, very good that you had you knew the phone number. So especially if you go to a new area, hiking and stuff like that, it's worth kind of researching that before you get there. So you kind of have some sort of idea where to go, what to do. Cause some things may be easy that you can do yourself, but if you get a major bleeder and you can't get the blood stopped, you're going to need to find the emergency vet. So good idea, local, regular vet emergency stuff nearby. In that situation, the first aid stuff to kind of have handy would be some hydrogen peroxide in a teeny little container to kind of flush out if the paw's cut on a dirty rock. You want to be able to kind of rinse it, flush it really good. And then some bandaging material to put pressure in case it is bleeding. So some gauze, regular old bandage stuff like we have, you can use. There's roll gauze, you can wrap it around. There's some, we call it vet wrap, but it's sticky bandage material that kind of sticks to itself. Okay. I mean, any sort of bandage like that can be really temporary. It'd be hard to hurt your pet. Yeah, I mean, the things we worry about is putting it on too tight and things like that. But if it's only going to be, a 5-minute to a half-hour situation, then pack a bunch of gauze and wrap it pretty darn tight. And, the bleeding should stop with pressure, and keeping it clean and washed out will get you started. I think at some point you probably do need to see the vet after that for antibiotics and maybe some stitches and pain meds and things like that.
Okay. And so are there kits available that you can buy at a veterinarian clinic, or do you go online?
Yeah, we don't sell kits at our clinic, but you can definitely, I know you could get online and find some stuff that's already ready to go. Things that you can make your own too, but pet stores probably have some stuff. You could use a People first aid kit that, has some, at least get you started on what things to add. I would make sure to have a thermometer is a good idea, because especially if you're out and about this summer and you want to see if your dog's overheating. We use regular People thermometers, those digital kind. There's nothing fancy about them. You just don't want to reuse them on yourself after you use them, because you have to take the dog's rectally take the dog's temperature. So a little Vaseline to get on the thermometer to lube it up. Normal dog temperature is 101 to 102.5. So kind of knowing if your dog's been active and playing, 103 might be normal, but 104, 105 is going to be a problem, and worry about the heat stroke. So at least that information is so important when you do take your pet to the vet. If you knew that your pet had a high temperature out on the trail, it would be like so much help for your veterinarian to know what to do next.
Okay.
So thermometer. The other thing that would be good, like what you said for your car, is to have like a slip lead in there in case you find a dog wandering down the street, or your dog's out on a walk and the leash breaks or something like that. It's nice to have a leash. a little nylon one's good. And the other good thing to use for that is if you get in a situation where your pet's hurt and they're trying, and because they're hurt, they're going to try and bite you. If you're going to try and mess with things like pull out a thorn, pull out a piece of glass, something like that, you need to use that leash to kind of wrap around their muzzle and hold their mouth shut so they can't bite you.
Okay.
It's kind of a makeshift muzzle for a few seconds to maybe do something that your pet would not let you do under normal circumstances.
So I had a question. We hiked and we got to snow, and we were with our black lab, and she was spazzing around, and all I could think of is, oh my gosh, she's going to tear an ACL.
Yeah.
So what happens, what do you do if you're pretty far removed from society and the dog pulls a major muscle?
Comes up really lame all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the little dogs you carry home,
Okay.
and the big dogs, what probably the best thing to do in that situation, if you had, you could use your leash for this. You could use like a towel or a coat or your shirt, and you make like a sling that supports their back half, and you make them walk like they're a wheelbarrow, like they put all their pressure on their front end, and you sort of put the sling under their belly in front of their back legs and pick their back end up.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And make them walk on their front end like the old wheelbarrow game. So to not hurt your back, the longer the piece of fabric, like a bath towel, works really good when you're home, but a bath towel is a big thing to pack on, wouldn't be easy to put in a first aid kit. But a belt could be that strap too that like goes around their belly and you hold at the top, so you could kind of stand up and they could walk on their front end and you could really support their back end. Hopefully you won't be too many miles out to have to do that.
Okay. Because you could actually use your just what you said, your backpack.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you don't. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, these are great tips to know. I certainly appreciate your time, and we look forward to having you back on.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, have a good day.
Thank you for listening to Bark and Wag's 15-Minute Vet Talk. If you like what you just heard, we hope you'll pass along our web address, www.barkandwag.com, to your friends and other pet owners. Have a pressing question for a veterinarian? Ask your question at barkandwag.com under the podcast tab. This has been a KFR production. Join us next time for another edition of Bark and Wag's 15-Minute Vet Talk.